Hey, this is Joe Bond at F6P_Joe. You're listening to the Dynasty Hot Seat.
Yes, hello everybody, and welcome back once again to the Dynasty Hot Seat. It's the only Dynasty show out there that is certified Inferno. And today, we're extremely lucky to have a great guest on our show today. We got Joe Bond. You can find him over at F6P_Joe. He is the founder of the Fantasy Six Pack, and he hosts a great podcast called the Fantasy Six Pack Hour, and he's also one of the expert rankers over at Fantasy Pros as well. So Joe, just absolute privilege to have you on the show today. How are you doing today, my friend? I know you had some rough storms last night. Are you okay?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've got some pretty massive tree branches coming down. They came down in my front yard. So thankfully nobody got hurt. None hit the house. Just glad to have power back, man, for a while there, because there was a lot of power lines down around the area. I wasn't sure I was going to have power in time to do this with you, but glad power came back and we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm delighted you came back as well, because our listeners are in for an absolute treat here today. So we're just going to get right into segment number one, which is the art of war, and it's just your hints and tips for dynasty players listening all around.
Yeah, so when I think dynasty football, right now, obviously, because all the rage is the NFL draft and the rookies and the young guys and things like that, my number one tip when it comes to dynasty is you're aiming for probably no more than like a 3 to 4 year window. At the same time, you've got to figure out when that 3 to 4 year window is. Like, if you are a super young team, your 3 to 4 year window might not be till 2-3 years from now. So you're going to want to build for that. You don't want a whole lot of older players on your team. You kind of want guys that are rookie second year players, probably no older than 26, 27, and even that, like 28, like for some of these receivers who you think have the longevity. Quarterbacks are a different story. Quarterbacks can play to their 35.
Yeah,
so be it. But that's the thing, is you really have to play for a 3 to 4 year window, and you've got to be able to recognize when that 34 year window is and trade for players who fit inside that window. You're not always just trying to go get the best value just because whatever, like you don't right now. You probably don't want Dalvin Cook if your 3 to 4 year window is 3 years from now.
Yeah,
right? That's just not going to work for you. He's not going to be good in 3. He might be, but chances are maybe probably not. That's just how running backs roll, right? So that's my number one tip.
I think that's tremendous advice, knowing and being really honest about your team. Don't just look at your team and be like, oh, this is the best team ever, because I know that Deontay Johnson's going to get injured and my Chase Claypool is going to be worth even more. Don't think in those kind of hypotheticals. Be really honest about your team, and are you ready to compete now, or will it take a few more years? And would you even go as far as, something I've been doing, I'm not sure if I've been doing the right thing or not, but I've been thinking my team in my home league isn't quite ready to compete until next year, so 2023. And I've kind of been thinking that for a while. So any trades I've been doing, I've actually just been like, I don't want your 22 picks, just give me your 23 picks, because that's when I want to get all my running backs and stack them up and then have used the rest of my team and go for it then.
I don't hate that. I mean, especially with this draft class not being as strong as a lot of people think next year's will be. Although you're kind of playing with fire, you're kind of just hoping you hit on those rookie running backs, hit on those rookie receivers, and I mean, you're rolling the dice. So maybe you go get a running back who will be able to produce in 2 years, in or next year, at this point. And he could be a couple years older, but if you're hitting that 3 to 4 year window still, that's still going to work for you. Because there's still, a roll of the dice with a lot of these rookies still. We just don't know. We've seen many bust. So That's how I would kind of play it, I think.
Nice, love that. So yeah, I love that. Love that first tip. Thinking about in different kind of windows. So what else you got for us, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, on the same kind of token here is I, especially in like a startup draft, be careful going like super rookie / young player happy.
Yeah,
And if you do that, there are teams in dynasty leagues that I'm in that they constantly will just like trade future, they're older ish players for like picks or young guys, and just hoping that they'll just be there forever and they're just going to have this like juggernaut for 10 years. That doesn't work. You will most likely be chasing the rest of the league the entire time you're there. Yeah, could you get lucky and it'll just all work out? Sure, but I haven't seen it work very often. The only time I saw it really work was one year. The guy, I think he like drafted Zeke really young, and then like 2 years later got like Christian McCaffrey and like just demolished the league. And like
yeah,
he just had so much, so many points from like two guys. He just killed everybody. It was that kind of thing. And he had a couple of other guys that just they carried, they helped carry the team too. But like, sure, it can work, but I just feel like when you go too young player happy, especially in startups, you just set yourself so far behind the rest of the pack. And what happens is not enough of those young players are going to hit. So then you don't have trade value. So, in startups, especially, right, you need to be able to go get some of those veterans that are, maybe on their way out, like they're at their peak.
Yeah.
So maybe next year you trade them, type of thing. Like if you think, like, oh, I'm going to get it the last couple of years type of thing, that's when you trade them. Right. And then, but if you just have a bunch of young players and only half of them hit, you've got no value. You've got nobody to trade because you're not going to trade your only good players. You've only got 10.
Yeah.
You can't trade those guys. What are you going to get back in return? More rookie picks and hope they work? It's tough. So you can't just go all young players. You've got to go get some guys who are going to be able to win now for you. I mean, that's the thing in startups too. Like someone's got to win now. Why not? Why can't it be you? That's the way
I like that. Yeah. Dream big. Why can't it be you? Like,
you can't take away championships. Go get it first.
Yeah. I really like that. And just, it is so tempting sometimes again, and it's like you gotta think about. I think with these young players, you gotta think about like potential ceiling. So it's like, say you're drafting like Treylon Burks, you're like, well, what is his ceiling going to be? It's like, well, maybe his ceiling is like he'll finish like as high as like maybe Mike Evans does 1 year. It's like, well, you just actually go get Mike Evans.
For probably a lot cheaper in a draft.
Yeah.
And then in 2 years, you can trade him at pretty good value still and go get the next Treylon Burks.
Exactly.
So why not?
Yeah. So
and I was like won.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it plays right into like the whole like, look, you're playing for like a 3 to 4 year window. Like even in startups, play for a 3 to 4 year window. You can't play. You're not going to be consistently good for 10 years. You're not going to win championships for 10 years, no matter how many young studs you think you draft. It's just not going to work. So I never play that.
Yeah, it's maybe very easy to come fifth for 10 years, like, and just like keep wishful thinking about these young guys without moving. But yeah, it's hard to stay at the top for 5 years. I'd rather be sailing at the top for a couple of years and then right at the bottom for a couple of years. I'd much rather be boom bust.
That gets right into my next tip here, and it sort of is, it's sort of a mix. It's a mixed bag here, right? So it's a little bit of that, right? I want to be good, and then I want to be really bad. Being middle of the road, it's almost like the NBA, right? The NBA draft. Think about the 76ers, right? What did they do? They tanked. I hate the word tanking. Like I don't like to do it. Like I'm still going to play my best team, but if I can trade some assets, like, who are kind of on the way out. Like if I know I can't compete for 3 years and I've got an older player who is still competing at a fairly high level, but in 3 years, I'm not going to be good. That guy probably won't be as good and he can't help me as much. Then I'm going to trade him and go get a younger player who's going to be good in 3 years or a pick and hope it works out. Does it always work out? No, but at the same time, and this is another reason why I'm not afraid of older players. This is another part of this too. And I've kind of been mentioning this the whole way through. Like, don't be afraid of older players who can help produce right now. And look, I know you want to maximize value, but there's some times where like you just need to ride that player out until he's no longer valuable. Like if he's going to help you right now win a championship, let him do it. You can't, I was this close to winning in one league, and I had Marshawn Lynch on my team, a few years ago when he kind of came back for his little last hurrah. And in Oakland, and yeah, I probably could have traded them that year and gotten maybe a 3rd round pick out of it. But who cares at that point? Like he almost led me to a championship, or helped lead me to a championship. And, like sometimes trying to maximize value also sets you back in dynasty leagues, because you're going to trade a guy who can help you win now for a guy who could, potentially help you win longer, but you still may not win, but you could win now. And you just let that championship window go out the window for you. And I don't know, I want rings. So I want a ring now, and then another ring 5 years from now, and then another ring 5 years. Like, that's fine. That's still going to be, I'm still going to be plus in my money for the league if winning every 5 years.
Yeah, no one's going to say anything to you if you end up like releasing Adam Thielen from your team because he's retired, but it's like, well, you won me a championship. I'd much rather have that championship than that 3rd round pick you're going to send me. So
exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm all in all 3 of those tips. That is absolutely tremendous for everybody listening as well. So that's the first part of the show over and done with, and we're about to head into the real big part of the show, the hottest part of the hot seat, as we put Joe firmly in the hot seat for a mock draft coming right up in part number 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome back now to part number 2, which is, the fieriest part of the show. It is the hot seat mock draft. And again, we've got our super flex 18 rounds mock draft. We got 12 teams involved here. And the first thing that you're going to do, Joe, is you're going to get to choose. In an ideal world, what position would you pick if you had your choice of them all in a super flex startup draft?
Probably go somewhere around 10. I like to pick in the back. I want to get 2 of these really good players. I don't think you have to win. I don't think you have to get the Josh Allens and the Pat Mahomes even in a super flex league to win. So nice. I'm good kind of loading up elsewhere.
Nice. Well, let's get pick number 10 locked in then, as we can get the draft started. And like you said, I imagine those players that we just mentioned, like there they are, there's Mahomes and there's Allen going off the board right away. As you'd expect, you're not expecting him to fall down to you at number 10. So we're on the clock now. I'll pause the draft so we're not really on the clock though. So let's have a little look. And you have some excellent players still there, as you'd expect. You got Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott. Wow, Kyle Pitts all the way up at ADP number 12. Amazing. Yeah, so is anyone standing out to you there?
It's a little rich for me for Kyle Pitts.
This is not tight end premium either.
Yeah. I know he's going to be valuable for quite some time. At least he should be, but I'm not trying to take a tight end that early. You know what? I will go some Lamar Jackson here. I like it. I like getting all those rushing yards from him. I think the floor is really high for him. Yeah,
I completely agree. I think Lamar Jackson would be a guy I would take there.
I hope CD would come back to me, but did not.
I like CD Lamb.
That would have been a good. That would have been a really good one. So, man, I would have liked it a lot more without Gordon landed back in Denver, but I'm still gonna go Javonte there. I know I've been going chalk so far, but that's kind of how it rolls pretty early, I feel like. So
yeah, you gotta like Javonte Williams. Like he'll continue to be good, and like it's not like he was bad last year sharing the carries with Melvin Gordon, and like he'll just continue to get better and better and have a real solid season. And it was Melvin Gordon on a 1-year deal.
I believe it is a 1-year deal still. So
deal.
Javonte could still be the man pretty soon here.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And here we are, run number 3, and we've got Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf sitting up there. A lot of kind of older prospects sitting there in run number 3.
Yeah, I mean DK's the youngest one there. It looks like I'm a little scared off from him, to be honest. Only because you're just not really sure where they're going with that quarterback situation. I don't believe in Drew Lock. You got to think they're at least going to quarterback next year. So I mean, like, it could work out in the long run. I'm scared off a little bit with Tua there with Tyreek, but I mean, he's such a talent there. I'm trying to look at the rankings on Fantasy Six Pack here from my boys who do them over there and see what they're thinking here with where do they got DK as compared to oops, wrong search button. DK Metcalf. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking was DK over Tyreek, just slightly. It's close. I know I said don't be afraid of the older players, but I think the older player with Tyreek and him also having a bad quarterback, I think I'd rather go DK there and just hope for the best.
We're gonna lock in DK Metcalf and hope that his
they draft
play,
a QB. Yeah, I hope they draft a QB next year.
And you'd think that, well, actually, you know what? If they don't draft a quarterback next year, that means that either Drew Lock or Geno Smith has had a great year. It might be that they actually
that's true.
End up doing well. I mean, I don't.
Or
really
they
see
get
it coming,
a little crazy with it. So let's hit up QB. Let's see what we got here with some QBs. I want to just see who's left here. So Fields, Rodgers, Carr. I mean, Rodgers is really good. It's hard to want to take him in a super flex.
And run number 4 as well. We're sitting at the minute. So we got Tua there, but I don't suspect you'll be going for him after what you were talking about Tyreek.
Probably not. I mean, honestly, at this point, like, I mean, I could just go a lot later and just go get Brady and just try to win now with it, and then draft a quarterback next year type of thing. Take a prospect later. That's probably the route I'm looking to go. So I think I'm going to pass on QB. Let's hit up the all here. Kamara, Kittle, Barkley, Fields, London, Gibson, Akers. Let's see here. I think Deontay Johnson's still down there as well. Actually, I would expect him to be a little bit higher, but he's still sitting there. Yeah, that is actually pretty interesting. Yeah, because the rankings I've got here, I mean, I don't totally agree with the guys that rank for me, but that's okay. That's their rankings. I'll let them do their thing. It is between Deontay and Gibson for me, and I think running backs can get pretty tricky pretty quickly. If I'm trying to win now, I need some running backs. Click on running backs by itself. Yeah, let's have a little look. So you got Kamara and Barkley and Gibson that you talked about, and then Walker sitting there as well. And you had the Seahawks, J.K. Dobbins, Travis Etienne, a couple of people, but yeah, that cliff is coming. You're right. And they click on receivers. I just kind of want to see what I'm looking at here. If I wait, there's a lot more receivers I like later. I'm gonna click on running back, and I'm going to get me some. I'm gonna go Kamara. Nice. I know he's a little older. The offense is a little bit, shaky, but I mean, older. I mean, he's 26. I know. Yeah. I actually thought he was older. I don't know why. I thought he was older than that as well. Like, that's not, 26. That's not too bad at all. Got a couple years left in him. Yeah, definitely. I know you'd mentioned there, potentially going for Antonio Gibson. You're not sort of afraid of Washington drafting, and gaining lots of new running backs. I think Gibson's still going to be the guy there. I think he can still have enough value. I mean, but Kamara, like, if I'm trying to win kind of now, then I think Kamara gives me a lot more value today than than Gibson does because there's just a lot of unknowns. But I mean, hey, look, the Washington coaching staff came out and said they want to use those two backs like Williams and what's his name? The two Carolina backs when they kind of had the tandem. I mean,
I heard this in a podcast.
Those two had tremendous seasons together. I mean, it's hard to just be like, I mean, whatever. Like, it's hard to ignore that. So I really do like that. So I'm guessing Johnson's gone.
I think Deontay has just gone, but you've still got a lot of talent. Like we talked about Mike Evans earlier, he's still sitting there, and Ty McLaurin, Chris Godwin, so lots of people sitting there at wide receiver. You got some good tight ends still available as well. So there's still lots of ways you can go here.
Yeah, I'm you know what? I'm gonna take my chances here and I'm gonna pick some Jerry Jeudy. I really like him paired up with Russ. I think he's gonna finally turn into the player we all hoped he was before.
I hope so as well. I've got like a million Jerry Jeudy shirts. So that does me that does my ears good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, Judy's just a talent, and I just think he's just been held back by the quarterbacks big time there. So easy pick for me here, and it's McLaurin. I actually, for some reason, didn't see him the last time. For some reason, passed on that, but wow. I mean, I don't love Wentz, but he's, in my opinion, the best quarterback he's played with by far. So I think we're good. I mean, look, we saw Pittman get like 123 targets last year. With Wentz there. And I know they brought in another receiver, but McLaurin is a stud. I love him. He's going to be really, really good there. Let's click on the quarterbacks. I know they're starting to go away here. Yeah, I mean, we're still looking at the Bradys and the Cousins and the Tannehills. I mean, I think at this point, I'm just waiting for whoever the last ones of those guys that's left. And then I'm just going to play super flex with those guys. And I'll be plenty. I mean, Brady this year could still be top 10 quarterback. I mean, and I'll be super happy with that this year. And then next year I'll have to figure it out, but whatever.
He's got a massive kind of broadcasting contract coming up next year, right? He's a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah. And I mean, Cousins still has Thielen and obviously Jefferson. And so, I mean, they're going to be very valuable quarterbacks. They just get, again, this is what I'm talking about. Don't be afraid of the older players in these leagues. Like these guys are going to be, and Cousins could still be valuable for what, 3-4 years? I mean, I know he's older, but he's going to be around. He's not going to be, a top 10, quarterback off the board almost any year. But I mean, he finishes within the top 12 pretty often, more often than everybody thinks.
Yeah.
This gets forgotten because he's not sexy. It's whatever.
Yeah. I also think like every kind of dynasty analyst loves Kirk Cousins though. Like everyone's like Kirk Cousins, he's the guy, like he's the value. Like, I think like anyone, it
just works. He just works. All right.
I'll move off quarterback there and show you the full board. And you got like Amari Cooper is sitting there as well. Another guy's usually underrated, just seems to slip in drafts. I think he'll have a good year, and then you got some interesting.
Me, I'm not a Cooper fan.
You're not a Cooper guy at all?
Yeah, he is to me like one of the most inconsistent players there is, and that bothers me. I mean, he'll have his 30-40 point games 2 or 3 times a season, and then he just has a bunch of like dud games after that. I just can't do it. I mean, look, he's got his best quarterback ever with Watson, or at least we think he will, right? We don't know still yet. Who knows what's going on there? But I mean, eventually I will take him. If he just falls and falls and falls. But I'm guessing the mock's not going to let that happen.
No.
So I do like. So there's 2 flex here. Is that the way you're playing this one?
Yeah. So it's like your quarterbacks and then your super flex, 2 flex, and then your 2 running backs and 3 receivers.
Okay. Click back over on running backs. I'm just curious after AJ Dillon. I do like him, but I'm curious to see what else is there. I'm not a big
James Cook,
not a big James Cook guy. I liked Carter until the draft. Emerson Ware doesn't really do it for me either. I think I'm gonna have to go with Dillon. I do like that there. I mean, there's a bunch of guys late, but they're all like late guys that they'll be off my team in like a year, so they'll
Yeah,
like at least hang
yeah.
around for a little while. And then I was hoping if you go back over to receivers, I was hoping.
Last
Who
chance
went?
for America.
who went? I'm just curious. Did I?
Let's have a look. Mooney, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Christian Watson.
I was kind of hoping Amon-Ra was going to sit there, but he obviously went. That was the one I was kind of taking a chance on to see if he'd come back to me. Come
on, Juju Smith-Schuster there, new team, could be an interesting choice. You know,
I do. I mean, I know the hate on him, but I mean, let's be real. He's going to be the number one in Kansas City.
Yeah,
that's gotta mean something. I do like that as kind of a win now move, and that's usually how I play my drafts. So he's only 25 too. I mean, I'm gonna do it. I do like Juju. Let's do it.
Yeah,
I think I'm higher on him than a lot of people.
And I've actually noticed he has been, sort of creeping. Obviously, doing a lot of these episodes, I see a lot of mock drafts, and he's just been creeping up and up and up and up and up and up and up. Slowly every single week.
There goes Kirk.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins coming in the 8th round, pretty good value there as well. That's interesting. Cortland Sutton going in the 9th, so far behind where Jerry Jeudy went as well. It's quite interesting.
Oh, the Brady one got me. How many teams is that quarterback? How many quarterbacks does that team have? They
just took Kenny Pickett and Tom Brady. That's a weird one too.
That got me.
So let's we'll just take a little pause and have a look at what your team is looking like, just so you can see Lamar Jackson, Javonte Williams, Alvin Kamara, Metcalf, Judy McLaurin, and then AJ Dillon and Juju sitting in your flex spots. So we've got a tight end and a super flex, and then our bench to fill up still.
All right. Yeah, that one got me. All right, let's go to quarterbacks. I don't think I can wait any longer. If I wait longer, actually, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Put this down. Do the teams on the turn both have 2 quarterbacks?
Yes.
They do. So do I take the gamble and wait? Thinking they won't grab a third. I mean, it is super flex, so technically you really want 3, but I mean, I'll throw in a position player twice a year. Whatever.
I think you'll be able to get, unless you're specifically just wanting Tannehill, I think you should be able to get Winston or Mills, depending on how much you like them.
Oh yeah, click on quarterbacks one more time. So
Matt Ryan is still there as well, which you could.
I was gonna say I could take a Matt Ryan. Tannehill's interesting to me.
Carson Wentz as well. Carson Wentz might be bad for an NFL team, but he's actually usually pretty decent for a dynasty team.
I could probably wait a couple rounds for Wentz. I don't think anybody really wants Carson Wentz, but I feel like, hey, I got the stack with McLaurin there. But you know what? I'm going to take my chances here. Let's go over to tight end. I'm just kind of curious to see what we're looking at here. I usually wait on tight end a little bit. I do like some Dawson Knox. They've loaded up a little bit more on that team, but he's a guy who, I mean, he saw a ton of volume there. Gesicki saw even more volume there. It's hard to predict if he's going to be able to repeat that type of volume now that they have Tyreek and Waddle and more running backs. We've got countless running backs. It's just crazy. I think I'm gonna wait on tight end. None of these guys really are screaming out to me as guys that are gonna make a huge difference. Let's go back over to let's just see what we're looking at.
Let's have a look. So you got guys like Brandon Cook still sitting up there as well, Jahan Dotson as well sitting there. Some interesting rankings for some of these new rookies as well. I'm just looking at the players they're ahead of or behind. I'm like, what's interesting where they're going?
I mean, I gotta go Cooks, right? I mean, this guy's super undervalued every year. The guy just churns out like 1,000-yard seasons. I'm just gonna do it. Yeah,
I think you're right. Every year, you're right. He's undervalued. Like just consistently. And I like Davis Mills. I think he's a pretty solid player, so I think he'll have another good season.
And there's literally
Cooks,
nobody else on that team. He sees so much volume. It's crazy. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and all the quarterbacks fell.
Nice. Okay. I think I'm just gonna take one here because I'm afraid of like a third quarterback run going on here, and I don't want to be left without at least two because I don't want to get stuck with like Marcus Mariota.
No.
So in my book, and when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at short-term value here. So I'm not really looking at a dynasty value here. I'm gonna be clicking on a quarterback. Who do we have? Click on quarterbacks.
Let's have a look. Tannehill, Mills, Winston, Matt Ryan's still there, Carson Wentz, the rest sort of backups or, soon to be backups.
Yeah, the guy I have the highest for this year is going to be Tannehill. So let's do that one.
Yeah, I like Tannehill. And do you think the Titans had a plan to draft Malik Willis, or do you think that he kept falling? They were like, we've just got to take a shot on this guy and see what happens.
I think they just, I mean, at some point you just take, you just play for the future. He could even sit 2 years and probably be just fine.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they're just,
I mean, they've already come out and said like, unless something crazy happens, Willis is not playing this year. That's kind of what they've come out and said. So let's look at tight ends. Let's
have a look. Albert Oster, Zach Ertz. I know they did draft in McBride, but Zach Ertz, I think they'll still take most of the pass catching there. And Irv Smith, one of my guys. I like me some Irv Smith Jr. as well.
I keep thinking Irv Smith is going to be a thing, and it just doesn't keep happening. So I'm going to pass on that one. As a tight end, and I just, because the guys after this just really just worried like production just isn't going to be there at all with them. I like Ertz, especially with Hopkins being out for the first 6 games, maybe that they can get on the same page even more so than they were at the end of last year. And that just kind of carries throughout the rest of the season, despite Hopkins, and then at the addition of Hollywood Brown. So I will tag me some Ertz.
Nice. Yeah, I like Zach Ertz in there. I think he had, obviously transferred to Arizona sort of halfway through last year, but he did, on the games he played there, he did really well, at least from a fantasy perspective, in terms of how many points he was scoring. So I mean, you got to be pleased.
Yeah, it's 7, 11, 13, 9, and 10 targets near the end of the season. It's hard to beat that kind of target share. He just has to land in the end zone a few more times. I mean, if he lands in the end zone, he's clearly crushing that draft value. All right, so I'm back up here. Not really caring too much about the quarterbacks right now. So let's just filter by the flex. So it gets rid of the quarterbacks.
Nice. Let's have a look. So we just got our flex pieces up. You got a couple of rookies at the top there with Pierce and Mechie and Alexander Madison in there as well. Interesting one. He's another one I didn't realize quite how young he was until quite recently. I think Madison is 23 years old, which is bonkers. Yeah,
it stinks because he sits behind Dalvin Cook, who's probably got at least a couple more years in him of like elite value. We've just seen Madison. I mean, we know he's good when he plays. Yeah. It's just he just doesn't get enough work when Cook is healthy. So he's a tough guy to draft as like my RB4, unless I was playing. If I was playing for the future, but I haven't been drafting my team that way. I'm kind of drafting as somebody who can compete right now. So I want to keep going down that road. Let's see here. Melvin Gordon, I took Javonte. I could handcuff it. That's not horrible.
A couple of times last year, I ended up playing both. I had both. I had Gordon and Javonte. So I played both.
Yeah, I mean, they both did very, very well for you. I do like Robert Woods. I mean, I could 1-2 punch that one a little bit too. You don't like him as much in that Tennessee offense, but I mean, he's still a very, very good player. I'm guessing guys like Alan Lazard are gone. I don't know if
Let's have a little search for Lazard and see. Adam Lazard. No, he's still sitting there.
he's
He
still
must be quite
sitting there.
far. He might be quite far down. You might even be able to wait on Alan Lazard. Let's have a check.
I like him like
Yeah,
this year more so than like dynasty value, but I do like him for this season because I mean, look, we're talking about a rookie coming in that you just never know about, and we know that Rodgers and Lazard have a connection
yeah,
already, so I
yeah.
do like that. But I do agree with you. I can probably wait on Lazard, but that will
Mhm.
be a guy that I'm looking at later
Yeah.
here. You know what? There's a few receivers here that I like and that I'd be happy with them. Click on the running backs. I just want to just filter out the running backs. I have a guy who I'm looking at here, but I'm just curious. John, you know what? Give me Gordon. Give me that Denver backfield.
Nice. Nice. I like that. Let's get the whole Denver backfield locked in, and then
One
a
gets
bit,
hurt,
bit
you know I've got a locked in RB1 at least for 2
exactly. I
weeks.
was going to say that's a great safety net at the very least. Like, if one goes down, you've got the other one. You got to be happy
And
with that.
I like handcuffing in Dynasty almost more so than I do in redraft because in
Yeah.
Dynasty, like you have such deep benches too. So
Yeah.
you can make it up later to where in redraft, you've got what 5 bench spots. It's hard to hold on to your handcuffs and like, with these guys, they both are valuable, but it so it's not as much of a handcuff, but man, like they
Hmm.
both can be RB2s every week, and then if one's out, they're RB1s. Like it's just
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Alan Lazard's still sitting there at the very top.
so he's at the very top now. Okay, so like Woods and everybody else went. Okay. Um, yeah, I think that's where I want to go.
Yeah, I
I
think
do.
so.
I like him. I like him a lot, especially for this season alone.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just that having that chemistry and having that link up already with Aaron Rodgers, and you're
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Like,
So we're in round 14.
Yep.
If I'm looking at a super flex, I do need to not forget about a third possible quarterback. So let's just see what's available there for quarterback still.
Ooh.
So we still have Winston. We still got Ryan. I mean, those are pretty good third quarterbacks. And if Tannehill doesn't really pan out with new targets, having Winston, who we know just loves to sling the ball, right?
Yeah.
That's let's see here. So we got Winston, we got Matt Ryan. It's between those two for me, honestly. And I know, like, again, my second and third quarterbacks are older and like on their way out, but I think I want to go Matt Ryan, despite him killing me in multiple leagues many times. He crushes me. I drafted him in my startup dynasty league like 7 years ago, and when he did his like I'm good, I'm bad, I'm good, I'm bad every other
Yeah.
year, I like traded him 1 year after his bad year. He had a really good year, then traded back for him, and then he had a bad year, and I was like, never mind. I just got rid of
Yeah.
him and like just stopped caring. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's some good targets there though. I love Pittman.
Yeah.
Hopefully Campbell can come back and be healthy. And because I think he's still a good player. With Winston, I do worry with that offense there. We just don't know what's happening with Michael Thomas. Yeah, they drafted some good receivers there, and they still got Kamara, but you also worry that they've got the Swiss Army knife there still, and I know he's going to be playing just tight end, but they're going to just pull him into the backfield and just steal some
Yeah.
goal line carries. So
Absolutely.
plug in some Matt Ryan there as my third quarterback, and I've sort of got a safety net with Tannehill if he doesn't click with his new weapons.
Yeah, I like that. Matt Ryan is super safe pair of hands. There's your third quarter. You're not going to mind plugging him in on a bye week for one of the others. So yeah, like he's
Absolutely.
safe. And here we go. We're going into round number 15. There's still going to be a lot of quarterbacks sitting.
There are.
Waiting
Nobody's
there as
taking them.
well.
Nobody's taking them.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have taken one. Wow, I'm kind of
Look
surprised.
at that. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
they all stayed. They all
Yeah.
stayed. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I
are
mean,
you wanting to look away from the quarterbacks?
if we were going like, 25, 26 rounds, probably like a normal dynasty draft would do.
Yeah.
Later on, I'd probably be trying to get like the Willis or, somebody like that. Like
Uh-huh.
just take a chance on somebody like a Sam Howell. Who knows?
Why
Right?
not?
I mean, like
Yeah.
Sam Howell, I mean, he came in this year as like a Heisman finalist, and just once they realized all his NFL talent receivers were gone, he wasn't really as good. So it just plummeted.
Yeah.
But yeah. So look at here, flex. We got Landry, Van
OBJ.
Jefferson, Osborne.
Is there some news in Odell Beckham I've missed? Sean McVay wants Odell Beckham back. There we go.
It's hard to know like what he's gonna do though. I mean, towards ACL in the Super Bowl. Is he even gonna play? Is he even gonna play this year? I mean, that's the thing. It's like that's a tough timeline to come back from.
He now has to play ahead of Allen Robinson as well. He's got to beat out Allen Robinson now, which is a lot easier than beating out Van Jefferson. Or a lot harder than beating out Van Jefferson, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, they signed, yeah, exactly. They signed a receiver. So I'm not really buying in on the Odell. Let's scroll down a little bit because there's a bunch of tight ends in here that I'm not really loving. Oh man, it gets rough quick.
Yeah, this is the cliff. It usually comes, right. What are we round number 15? Yeah, round number 15, and then it's kind of just like, oh, okay.
How many? I forget how many running backs. Like, what's my team looking like here?
Let's have a little look. So you got your 2 starting running backs. You got AJ Dillon sitting in one of your flex spots. Then you've also got Melvin Gordon as well. So you got 4 running backs sitting there at the moment.
And 1, 2, 3, 6 receivers.
So you got your 3, 4, 5, 6 receivers.
Yeah, and I don't mind going a little more receiver heavy in Dynasty. They hold value more. And with that being said, I want to go Devontae Parker. He's going to be the number 1 in New England for Mac Jones. And I know it's not sexy, but I mean, he'll produce if he's on the field.
Yeah. I like Devontae Parker as well. And Mac Jones, I would expect Mac Jones to just stay kind of where he was last year, like just steady, like be pretty good, get the ball out to his receivers, and
they're gonna
not lighting the world on fire, but
they're gonna be able to manage with him. Let's go back over to running backs. Let's see what we got and do some deeper guys here. Don't love Mostert there. Chris Carson, I'm off of him. I'm not really even sure he's gonna play another down, to be honest.
Pacheco is going ahead. Does anyone know anything about Pacheco? I'd never heard of him coming into this draft. The Chiefs drafted him, and now I guess people are just taking a shot on him, but I have no idea about anything about him.
I honestly don't know a ton about him. Yeah, I think it's kind of like anytime there's a new tight end in Green Bay, right? Everybody's like, oh, he's gonna be awesome. It doesn't work. Stop it, guys. Just stop it. So I just, I'm not, there's a lot of running backs there. I'm not really gonna go crazy about that. Oh man.
A lot of those Miami, like that Miami lottery pick is there. Like you got Mostert and Michelle and Gaskin sitting there.
Yeah, it's funny that they're all sitting there. Yeah, and they're all kind of around that same value. Scroll down just a little bit. I'm just kind of curious because ADP can be finicky.
Yeah.
There's not a lot.
maybe not. Yeah, there's
definitely not a lot here. Maybe I will take a stab at one of those Miami guys. It's just sort of which one.
I've even been grabbing, like I'm kind of contradicting myself after talking about Pacheco, but I've been grabbing whatever the rookie running back Miami drafted. He's been undrafted in almost every rookie draft I've had. It's like, I'll just take him. I'll see what he can do. I'll put him off waivers and see how he does. I can't even remember his name, to be honest with you.
The guy from Miami.
Yeah, the rookie they drafted, rookie running back.
I'm trying to think of who it is now too. It's not, it's not a name. The Dokes.
No, was he last year or was he this year? I can't remember. There was someone else I've been taking. I wonder if I can see on the team, or has it not been updated yet? No.
I actually have some depth charts pulled up. I got to just get the right screen up here. So their rookie is, let's see here. No, well, yeah, it's not even showing up on my depth chart. That's a that's pretty awesome.
He doesn't even.
I won't mention this. Like, it's not mine, I swear. No.
Dude, I can't remember his name. I seen him pop up on like in Sleeper, and it's like, oh, Miami drafted a running back, and I didn't realize. It's like, I'll just grab him. I'll just see what I can get. But I can't even remember the guy's name.
You know what? I'm just gonna trust my my guys here and at Fantasy Six Pack. And so I know Edmonds is gone, but their next one is Mr. Sony Michel.
Nice.
Just do
it.
Just depth. I mean, just at this point, it's just depth. I mean, I've got 4 pretty solid running backs. I'm okay with it. Just whatever. There's just not a whole lot out there for running backs. So just get what you can sometimes. And sometimes it works out. And sometimes, I mean, who knows? I might take 2 of them.
Yeah. Who knows who's going to be there when we come back around?
Literally,
so
I'm staring at Gaskin still sitting there, which is hilarious because that's what
he is still there. Wow.
And all those quarterbacks went.
Wow. Oh, did they all? Yeah, they all just went boom, 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 boom. Yeah, everyone just taking their 3rd quarterback. So yeah, Myles Gaskin is still there. The mysterious rookie, I can't remember his name is still there.
Yeah. What are we looking at here for receiver?
Let's have a little look. Wide receiver. Valdez Scantling is down there, as well as Jarvis Landry's still there. That's interesting.
You know what? I honestly, I'll admit, I forgot Landry signed with New Orleans after I just said Winston doesn't have any weapons, but Landry doesn't like wow me by any means.
Tim Patrick there as well. I like me some Tim Patrick, especially if I don't know what the situation with Judy is. I think he's in the all clear, but if he were to get any kind of suspension, you'd expect Tim Patrick to fill in pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the situation. It didn't seem severe at all, but yeah, Tim Patrick produces when he's on the field. They just don't ever seem to like when both those guys are healthy. They just don't ever seem to like just put him up there. But yeah, throw Landry in there. Just a solid producer. Yeah. Again, at this point, like I just want depth and production, and I'll take it. So let's grab me a let's just say a second tight end. Obviously I haven't drafted one yet. Let's just see what else is out there.
Let's have a look. So Brevin Jordan there. Gerald Everett's an interesting shot there over at the Chargers. He could have a decent season, especially with Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Daniel Bellinger is another one I've been taking a few stabs on, just in back end of the 4th round of rookie drafts as well, just because he's got to beat out Ricky Seals-Jones, which if he's getting drafted, he's got a chance to do that, I think.
Yeah, I think as a second tight end here, though, there's really nobody young that I really care about. I mean, we're talking 18th round. If we were going to go a little deeper, I'd be looking to some of the guys that you're mentioning, back in our rookie drafts and things like that. But 18th round of a startup, probably no thanks. But I will take a stab at a Logan Thomas, who we've seen do it before, and if the guy can stay healthy, I think he's good.
Yeah,
and we know Wentz likes to use tight ends, so
he does. Let's get Logan Thomas in. Just was just the top 5 tight end 2 years ago. So and last year he was hurt, so it wasn't like he played badly last year. He didn't play at all. So
yeah, you do worry about concussions kind of lingering, but I think that's pretty good. I like that startup draft.
It's just about to say, Joe, let's have a little look at how your team is looking. So we've got our players sort of in our positions here. It might not be exactly what the starting lineup would be, but we've got, a quarterback. You got Lamar Jackson there. You got Javonte Williams and Alvin Kamara sitting at your running back positions. DK Metcalf, Jerry Jeudy, Terry McLaurin at wide receiver with Zach Ertz locking down tight end. You got a couple of flex positions with Ed Dillon and Juju Smith-Schuster, and then Brandon Cook sitting there as well. But you'd expect either, Ryan Tannehill or Matt Ryan to slide into that super flex position. And, your bench looking pretty strong as well. You got Melvin Gordon to help out with Javonte, Alan Lazard, Devontae Parker, Sony Michel, Jarvis Landry, and rounding off with Logan Thomas. So interesting team there. Definitely sort of, I always find it's really interesting to hear what people's hints and tips are, and then, look at the team that they draft, and yours is very much in line with your hints and tips, which I think is always really, really good to see.
Kind of a win now approach. Like, I wasn't afraid to go after the older guys, especially later. But like my top end talent, DK, Judy, McLaurin, Javonte, Lamar, they're all young. I mean, the only older top end talent guy I have really is I mean, I guess Kamara, but he's still youngish too. But for running backs with the mileage he has on him, it's pretty up there. But it's fine. And like, look, if this doesn't work out, I guarantee like I've got some tradable assets here and I can go load up later. Like if this team just falls flat on its face, I'll be able to figure it out and trade some of these guys for 2023 picks, if not multiple of them.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, with that, like Javonte's there as well. If Melvin Gordon does leave next year, you'll be able to, Javonte will lose. People will pay out the nose. So yeah, you've got things to fall back on. But, I like just kind of going back to what you said earlier, like someone's got to win year one. Why not you? And this team looks perfectly capable of winning the year one. So Joe, I just wanted to say, once again, just thank you so much for coming on the show. Do you just want to remind everybody where they can find you and what you're up to?
Yeah. Again, I'm on Twitter at F6P_Joe. And fantasy6pack.net is where you can find us. We're just really kind of starting to roll into the majority of our fantasy football content here. We're going to be starting with some team previews, both on the site and on our YouTube channel. So those will be rolling out here shortly. And then, the rest of the stuff. So over, under, overvalued, kind of stuff. And, that's what we got going on. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Awesome. And guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you're having a look here right behind me. We've got the Hall of Flame. It is our top guests that have been on the show. All you got to do is head over to the YouTube channel and give this video a little thumbs up. And let's see if we can get Joe up here with, the Dynasty Grill Ali, with Dynasty Goat Kev, or with our person at number one. It's Murph sitting at the top of that list. So let's see if we can get Joe sitting up at the top of that. So you know what to do. Get over, give it a thumbs up, and we'll go from there. So Joe, once again, my pleasure having you on. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. So as we cool off for another week, just reminding everyone to keep themselves and their teams lit. See you next time.